What's up, guys? It's Scott from Game Gods. I'm coming at y'all to show you guys a new way that's been introduced to me by Insat International to Reball. It's fairly easy. Doesn't take very much work at all. The main purpose behind this is to alleviate putting the chip through more heating processes than you need to. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how this works. You've got two stencils. You've got the stencil from Insat International, which is specially cut for solder paste, and then you have to print on the BGA, and then you have your regular 90 by 90 or 80 by 80 millimeter stencil. Basically, you just spread the solder on there and put the balls on top of the solder paste, and you're going to put it on your Honton hot plate, your HT1212, or if you have a Jovi, you can use the hot plate on the Jovi as well. So basically, I have a tube of solder. I just put solder in here. What I do is just kind of bunch it up. You don't need very much, but you want to make sure you get enough on there to spread an even film to get it on the pads. After that, I take my my paint scraper here, and very easily, with no pressure at all, you're gonna want to run it down the edge of the stencil. Now, I usually don't get in the first try. I usually always have to turn it over and do it from the bottom up, and then make one more pass. Now, I will tell you this: if you put too much pressure behind it, you might get solder smeared on the BGA. If you do that, just repeat the process. It's probably best to try to get it on there on the first try, but it looks like all went well, kind of. Yeah, I missed some pads, so I'll put it back on there one more time and run it through. Again, guys, not a whole bunch of pressure is needed. You do want to make sure that you get all that you do get paste on all the pads. Otherwise, I promise you, you'll just be kind of working against yourself. This isn't the easiest thing to do in the world. It took me about 10 minutes to master it and figure it out. I think some of this probably smeared underneath here, so let me take a look. No, everything went well. Let me get my little magnifying glass here. I'll tell you, the real payoff is not this part. Like I said, the payoff is where you don't have to put the chip through a whole bunch of heating cycles. Basically, this gasket is a spacer so you don't get solder paste all over your regular stencil. You're gonna have to pre-align it. I've already done that. Take your solder balls, and the other benefit to this is you don't have to use a whole bunch of flux. You'll save a lot of money in flux. Most of the time, I'm able to just get it all in one pass, not have to go back and put balls on. I will tell you, there is one downside to when you first do it. Using one spacer, sometimes your balls are going to stick to the stencil. If that's the case, look at me running my mouth and I missed one. If that's the case, and you lift the stencil up and you see that they're sticking, I just take a pick, and if there's too many, I just do it again. But if there's only one or two, then I'll just make it to where I push them down with the pick. I've kind of modded my jig a little bit to sit tight against the edges, so it doesn't lift up as easy as some of you guys might. I have tried it with some of the other jigs, and I'll tell you, the Honton, I believe this is called a Honton 90 jig, works the best for doing this. Like I said, I've used some of the other ones and I wasn't real impressed, so this is the one that I use. to do it. As you can see, I'm currently missing just one ball, so I'm gonna grab a ball here real quick and put it in that corner pad that I'm missing. Like I said, the payoff isn't this process. You'll probably notice that my balls are kind of, or the solder paste is kind of off-centered. That's okay. It's not really a great big deal. Basically, you gotta let the Hantan come to temperature. I should have did that before I started shooting this video, but as you guys can probably see, the chip is relatively green. Hasn't been burnt or had the hot air station been abused by the hot air station. I've been using Jimmy at Insat's process now for, I guess, right about 2 days. It's the easiest reball process I've ever done. I hope you guys enjoyed it if any of you decide to do it. I'm just waiting on the HT1212 to come to temperature. Yeah, it looks like it's going to take a little while for this guy to come to temperature, so I'll turn the camera back on once it does.